everyone! So I wanted to do something that is seemingly really simple, but not everyone really knows how to do and isn't really taught unless like you're a parent or grandparent or sibling or something teaches you. I know there's other tutorials online for this, but and even if you have a sewing machine, it's still important to know how to do this. And I'm going to show you how to sew old-fashioned sewing, with just a needle and some thread and fabric. And I taught myself, so it's not like seamstressy, tailor, 100% beautiful, perfect, but it works for me. And it's good when you have like just a tiny little hole to patch up or to sew back up, or you get like, there's like this tiny little thing here and there that you can't get into a machine, or like I made this huge pin cushion because I have so many pins, as you can tell, and that's not gonna fit in a sewing machine. So I had to hand sew it. You can see it? Kinda, sorta. So it's good for because the sewing machine just isn't gonna be able to do every little thing you need it to do. So sometimes you need to know how to just get in there with some thread and a needle and cut off the frayed end. So first step is the most difficult step. It's getting the thread into the eye part. Can you tell? No. The hole at the top where it's not pointy. That's called the eye. So let me see. Let me zoom in. Boop, boop, boop. There you go. You can see it now. So this could take a million tries. So let's see. I've gotten better about it. And I have there we go. Okay, first try. Boop, boop. So when I taught myself, I was like 10 years old, and I used to tie the knot down to right at the tip of the eye. And I have a knot there, which is not what you're supposed to do. I didn't learn that until I was 24-ish. You actually make a loop at the top. So you see, you give yourself a good amount of thread to work with, about 2 inches, and you kind of grab it, and you'll grab the other side, loop it around your thumb, and make a knot towards the end of that 2 inches of thread, if my thread will cooperate. And it's not. Alright. Around your thumb, take that end of the 2-piece, pull that thread that was over your thumb off, and put this little piece, the 2-inch piece, around it. Now stick a finger back in there as like your support, and then take that the little bit and go back under the long bit, pull that over, and again have support, and boom, there is your knot. So you have this little loop. You have a loop here instead of a knot right down here, because that knot, I noticed it always frustrated me. I was like, this can't be the best way to do it, because it would snag. I'd have to really yank, and you can tear the fabric like that. The string the thread wears down a lot more, and it'll eventually snap a lot faster. Doing it this way makes sewing a lot faster and more seamless. So let's see, and I just got some scrap muslin. So the way I did, and again, it's not proper by any means, but I go in wherever I need to start at. If I need to make a big stitch, I always start like with a small little area for this, like a small stitch, I guess. You can pull as much string as you need, Boop, boop, boop. Can you see what I'm doing? Kind of. This way. There you go. Alright, say we need that much. So I'm gonna take where we went in, the string where we went in with. So the first hole, basically. Pull that up. I'm gonna come back down with the top string and the needle and go like next to that hole and then back up, back out. And this extra string I have, before I pull it all the way, I'm gonna go under it just like that and make a knot. So, and you see no more thread is coming from the spool. There's no movement there. It's not being pulled this way. And now it's safe to cut the string and your project not unravel on you. Now there's a proper stitch to do that for, and it's like, I think it's like a kind of a cross stitch or something, I don't know. But I don't know how to do that. I know that, and it's worked for me for the last 18 years, so yeah. And then you can just go on about your business. If you want to do a short little stitch, you just take that very tip of the needle and do a tiny little stitch. And the needle's going to be your guideline, basically. And you see I did a tiny little stitch there. I'll do a couple more so you can see it better. And that's if you need to do something really small and close together. Now this is a lot more time consuming than a sewing machine, obviously. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So I did a tiny stitch right there. So you wanna do a bigger stitch. And it just depends. Say I wanna go like a quarter of the needle. So I do that. Pull it through. And so now there's a much bigger space there. There, and you have that bigger stitch. A couple more like that. And that's the bigger one, and then there's a ton of fancy different stitches, hand stitching and stuff like that, but most of the time, since you're more than likely going to be working with a sewing machine, you don't necessarily need those. If you want to learn them, go for it. Most sewing kits come with a book, at least the ones I have. Not all, that's a lie, but the ones I have came with like a book on the different knots, and I know you can look them up on like Pinterest and stuff like that. And so to tie it off, to finish up, I do very similarly to the first one I did. So we're gonna do the small stitch, like micro stitch, just the very tip, and go in front of the last stitch we made, where the string is coming out, go right behind that, and then go right in front of it, and then have that fat, oh, you can't even see what I'm doing, guys. Where is it? Where is it? Zoom back up. Alright, there we go. Yeah. Alright, so I can't pull the thing back through. So before I pull this in, that loop, I'm gonna just do exactly what I did and make a knot. Go back under it and then pull through. And then sometimes I'll just to be sure, because I'm a little paranoid, I'll do it a couple more times around the thing. And then just do the same thing. Like a star, it looks like a star to me. I don't know if that's actually what it's called, but I think a star stitch is the proper stitch to start and end, something like that. But mine is, it's just a knot. It's tiny, you can't even see it. So yeah. And then that's just like how to stop and start a line. So let's take a corner and fold it together. and do that. I put all my clippies up, and I have pins. So I'm gonna pin this down. Boop. And I will have CJ will do a video and I'll show you like the proper ways of pinning and why it's important and stuff and which way to go. She knows that terminology. I don't. I just kind of stick them in where they look like they need to go. So I'm just gonna basically sew this down together. So do the same thing as earlier as the start. Make a small stitch. Pull that through. Pull this up so you can sew over it. Basically, it's like it's essentially like using the back stitch button or function on a sewing machine. And boop. You want to make sure that it's going to get that the end string is going to get where you want it to be. Under, boop, and there. Have a nice knot. And I'm going to do it again, just because, like I said, I'm paranoid. And it's also, in case you didn't see the first time, helps too. And under. There. Nice and sturdy. And I'm going to do a bit bigger stitches, not huge ones, but yeah, like the quarter size one. So you can see more about what I'm doing. Now obviously I'm using red so you guys can see it, but you would use the color thread you need that's closest to the fabric color or whatever you plan on needing it for. Now, ideally you would actually use a small stitch when folding something like this down, but this is more so you guys can see what I'm doing. And you just want to be extra secure. You want to turn it around and do like a double stitch and go smaller. You want to do some fun stitching for funsies? You can. And see, there's the tiny little stitch that you'd be more likely to use. So as you can tell, this is a lot more, like I said earlier, it's a lot more time consuming than using a sewing machine. So you wouldn't want to make a whole costume or anything hand stitched unless that's all you got. And I've done that before. It took a very long time. Sewing machines are definitely a blessing, but there's just some things it can't do, and that's okay. So I'm going to, you see my tiny little stitch? I'm going to take the pins out before I stab myself. That would be fun. And just do, ow! I was going to stab myself. Yeah, and be careful because you're probably going to stab yourself. I've never used a thimble, but that's their purpose. So you don't fucking stab yourself. And I'm gonna tie it in. And as you notice, like, even if you have like enough of a loop, even if it's really tiny to get your needle through, you can still do that knot. Boop, boop, boop. And you're good. And then you just cut the string. Boop. Nip the beginning string. And bam. That's how you just put two pieces of fabric together, basically. So, focus. So, you have a nice fold. And that's it. So hand sewing is not that difficult. Time consuming, yes, but it's pretty simple. Yeah, you just need a needle and thread and some pins or clips to hold down whatever you're gonna be sewing together. And even, but like say you're at a con, I always bring a sewing kit to a con. Like my Black Widow suit under the arms, it tears all the time. I've had to put it back together so many times, that you kind of just have to hold it with one hand. You have to hold it with like one hand and then go in with the other to fix stuff like that up. But yeah, that is a quick little how to hand sew sewing tutorial. Hopefully that was useful and educational. And yeah. Alright, I will see you lovelies later. Let me know if you prefer hand sewing or a sewing machine, or like you use the sewing machine because it's easier but you prefer hand sewing, or stuff like that. I'd love to know. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. I love you guys. Bye.